Q and Review, celebrating 40 years of audio production, welcomes you to this week's edition of the Glasgow Times Sports Podcast, recorded from our studio in the Bishopbriggs Media Centre and by our volunteers working from home. Keep up to date with Q and Review news via our Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, at Q and Review, that's @CUEANDREVIEW, or get in touch with us directly by emailing information@qandreview.com, that's INFORMATION @CUEANDREVIEW.com, or by calling 0141 772 3976. Please like and share our podcast and give us constructive feedback.
From the Glasgow Times Sports section published on Tuesday the 9th of January 2024. In brief, Nightingale signed short-term deal to extend county stay. Ross County have tied up defender Will Nightingale on a deal through to the summer. The Wimbledon AFC centre-half was recruited by Malky Mackay initially on a deal until January. But Mackay's successor Derek Adams has liked what he has seen of the 28-year-old. In the 4 games Nightingale has played since Adams arrived in mid-November, County have kept 3 clean sheets and conceded just once. Manager Adams said, "Will has been a mainstay in the centre of defence since his arrival, playing 17 times, and we are delighted to secure his services until the end of the season." Meanwhile, County have also announced that midfielder Scott High has returned to parent club Huddersfield Town. Parks heads for Hartlepool after injury hit Livingston spell. Livingston have allowed defender Tom Parks to join National League side Hartlepool United. The centre-back made 27 appearances in an injury-hit spell in West Lothian after signing from Exeter in 2021. The former Bristol Rovers and Carlisle player had been absent for 18 months with a knee injury before returning in May. Although he had spells out of the team this season too, he was a reliable performer and joins fellow central defender Louis De Lucas in departing the club this month. Manager David Martindale added, "I wish Tom nothing but success. He is a top professional and gives you everything every day and will be a huge miss around the club." Mowbray announced as new Birmingham City manager. Tony Mowbray has been announced as Birmingham City's new manager to replace Wayne Rooney. The former Sunderland and West Brom manager has penned a 2.5-year deal at St Andrews. Mowbray said, "I am excited to be joining Birmingham at this time. I can't wait to get back on the training pitch and start working with this talented group of players. My focus is on building their confidence, delivering results, and giving Blues fans a team they can be excited by and proud of. I know from personal experience how passionate Blue Noses are, home and away, and I'm looking forward to having their full support for the team starting on Saturday." This article was read by Arthur. You are listening to the Glasgow Times talking newspaper from Q and Review, print speaking to the blind. We would love your feedback on our readers. So please visit our website to complete an online survey at www.qandreview.com/listener survey. Or after the 8th of January 2024, give us a call on 0141 648 4994 to speak directly to our managing editor. From the Glasgow Times Sports section published on Tuesday the 9th of January 2024, Nick Roger on Tuesday. Golf correspondent It's Live and Let Live as golf stumbles towards an agreement. I was reading something at the weekend. Yes, I do read words and don't just gaze witlessly at the pictures, and said article was all about the ancient Peruvian ceremony of Tecanacui. Perhaps you've heard about it. Basically, it's an annual tradition which helps to usher in the new year with a clean slate and involves that genteel, diplomatic process known as physical violence. Men, women and children in the province of Chumbivilcas gather to engage in fist fights as a means of settling the myriad grudges and grievances that have built up over the past 12 months. Apparently, all this cathartic thwacking, thumping, clattering and battering helps to foster a sense of camaraderie and strengthens the bonds in the community. Once everybody has got some stuff off their chest and clocked a few say-ins, all and sundry come together to drink and celebrate. Funnily enough, members of the Herald Sports Desk employ a similarly time-honored ritual during the office Christmas knees-up. Anyway, I was thinking that Tecanacui could be used to sort out the ongoing palaver in the world of men's professional golf. After bigwigs at the PGA Tour, DP World Tour and Saudi Public Investment Fund missed the Hogmanay deadline to firm up their plans for a working partnership, a few biffs and beverages might just hasten the whole thing along. Imagine the scene? Live Supremo Greg Norman and PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan rolling around in the dirt and throwing a few punches before staggering off arm in arm for a reconciliatory pint and finally signing the framework agreement. It can't be any more ridiculous than some of the capers that have gone on over the past year or so. But here we are in 2024, and things are still mired in uncertainty. Those no-nonsense residents of the aforementioned chum bibleters are probably dabbing their burst lips, cut eyebrows and dented noses and saying, well, I've just stuck the nut on my next-door neighbor because of his encroaching hedge, but at least we get bloomin' stuff sorted quickly. At the weekend there, the PGA Tour's first signature event of the new season, the Century, took place in Hawaii and served to illustrate how badly the men's game has been affected by the ongoing muddle. A year ago, in the same tournament, Jon Rahm got 2023 off to a barnstorming start when he fired a final round 63 to overcome a 9-shot deficit and win with great aplomb. Rahm, of course, is now a live employee and wasn't allowed to play in the 2024 opener. The watering down of PGA Tour events goes on. Unless something comes out in the wash soon, April's Masters, the first men's major of the year, will, again, be the first time we see all the game's big hitters on the one stage. Great news for the Augusta showpiece. Not so great for everything that goes before it. For the casual observer, who probably now gets more roused watching dust form on a sideboard than they do about switching on the golf, confusion and shrugging indifference reigns. Regular tour events are diluted and the attraction can be less compelling. Meanwhile, LIV, despite all its self-promotion, hoopla and hype, has a TV audience that's broadly equivalent to the numbers you'd get outside an old Dixon's shop when a few folk would peer at the telus in the window for the football scores on a Saturday afternoon. Everybody is being shortchanged. Well, apart from many of the increasingly powerful players, whose greed and disloyalty has led to the established tours capitulating to the Saudis. On both sides of golf's divide, it remains a wholly unsatisfactory situation. Amid all this, reminders of golf's modest place in the wider scheme of sport are easy to find. In the US, the Sports Business Journal recently reported its list of the top sporting broadcasts of 2023. The final day of the Masters attracted 12.1 meters viewers and was golf's most watched event. But it was down in 131st place on the overall list of must-see sporting occasions. Over here, the Ryder Cup attracted an average of 750,000 on Sky, which was a record figure, given that the final of last week's Darts World Championship lured in 4.8 meters on the same platform. However, you can see why golf can ill afford to have more folk jabbing the off button. The current chaos is doing nothing in terms of attracting and maintaining eyeballs. Last week, Rory McIlroy, who was one of the most strident anti-LIV voices, softened his stance on the whole state of affairs. I wouldn't say I've lost the fight against LIV, but I've just accepted the fact that this is part of our sport now, he said. Acceptance of Saudi dosh across sport in general is, well, par for the course. The wider geopolitical issues involved with Saudi Arabian investment may remain unpalatable for many, but for golf, and indeed sport, there ain't no going back. So, is it now forward together? Well, that seems to be the case. How long this wearisome journey will take, though, is anybody's guess. I still reckon a bout of Peruvian to Kanakui will sort it all out. This article was read by Arthur. You're listening to the Glasgow Times talking newspaper from Q and Review Print speaking to the blind. We would love your feedback on our readers. So please visit our website to complete an online survey at www.qandreview.com/listener survey. Or after the 8th of January 2024, give us a call on 0141 648 4994 to speak directly to our managing editor. From the Glasgow Times Sports section published on Tuesday the 9th of January 2024. Immersion dream or star-spangled spanner in the works for Scott? McIntyre takes brave leap into the unknown with new life on PGA Tour. Nick Roger golf writer. THERES a queer old difference between Oban and Orlando, but Robert McIntyre seems to be settling into life on the other side of the pond. His new Florida HQ, where the Scot will live during his maiden season on the PGA Tour, includes a practice base at luxurious Isleworth, a local status symbol of wealth and grandeur. Just like Glenn Cruton then? This week, McIntyre has made the trek to Hawaii for the Sony Open as the 27-year-old begins a new chapter in his young career. Earning one of 10 PGA Tour cards through last season's DP World Tour rankings has opened up a whole host of lucrative opportunities. The next few weeks and months will be an eye-opener, both on and off the course. Will McIntyre revel in the pursuit of the American dream? Or will too much time away from the contentment of life in his beloved Oban plunge a star-spangled spanner into his works? Time will tell. This year, the living side of it is almost like a trial run, he said. I'll be trying to work out if America is the right place for me to live. When I was making the move out here, I had to choose where the best place was to go. I'm not just moving here and saying, see you back home later on. I needed an airport nearby as I want my family to come out. I want things for them to do when they come out. When I am out practicing, they need something to do, not just sit at the house. There were lots of things to consider. America is America. It's completely different from where I'm from. It's going to really take a bit of time to get used to. Some things are really going to annoy me, some things I am going to love. But I am doing it for one thing, not for a lifestyle change. It's all for my golf game. Golfing in Scotland at this time of the year, of course, can often turn into the kind of sodden slog that's about as enjoyable as digging a trench. Staying in Oban certainly didn't hinder McIntyre. He became a double tour champion and a Ryder Cup player from there, after all. Orlando, though, can help to raise the bar. Oban has got me so far and I could still get better from there, he said. But I have dreams I want to achieve and I have more chance of achieving them by making this move. I'm amazed at the work I can get done out here. Last Friday, I left the golf course at dark and was still in a t-shirt. I was at home for 4 weeks over Christmas and touched the clubs twice. The worst thing about home is the weather, and that's not going to change much. The Ryder Cup is still relatively fresh in the memory and the spirit and comradeship of Team Europe is something that McIntyre still cherishes, and will continue to benefit from as he looks to make his mark on the toughest tour in the world. When I first met Rory McIlroy, a couple of years ago, it was like, oh, it's Rory. He's up there and I'm down here, said McIntyre. But at the Ryder Cup, everyone opened up. You get to know them on a different level. I can now go into a locker room and if Rory is there, I can have a personal chat. I think being part of that team has opened up doors for me to get help from one of the best players ever to play the game. As for adapting to the American way of life, well, McIntyre may just have to grin and bear the relentless exuberance. Amazing, awesome, you're the man? I went for a coffee and the enthusiasm over making a coffee was just off the charts, chuckled McIntyre at this glass-half-full approach of beaming tooth enamel. I've been on Oban High Street and it's nice and chilled. Whereas over here, I feel like you go places and it's an overkill of buzz. I'm that chilled guy, so the house might be one of the best places for me over here other than the golf course. We will see if the good old US of A becomes a golfing home for McIntyre. This article was read by Arthur. You are listening to the Glasgow Times talking newspaper from Q and Review, print speaking to the blind. We would love your feedback on our readers. So please visit our website to complete an online survey at www.qandreview.com/listener survey. Or after the 8th of January 2024 give us a call on 0141 648 4994 to speak directly to our managing editor. From the Glasgow Times Sports section published on Tuesday the 9th of January 2024. Laurie, Matter will make sure he ends Edinburgh spell on a high. Bristol-bound number 8 back to maintain form before transfer. Stuart Bathgate. Rugby writer. Edinburgh forwards coach Stevie Laurie is confident that Bill Matter will be keen to end his 8-year stint on a high before his departure in the summer for Bristol Bears. The first member of the club's coaching staff to speak since last week's announcement that Matter is to leave at the end of this season, Laurie praised the Fijian number 8 for his commitment to the cause since he joined back in 2016. And pointing out that the 32-year-old had been in fine form in the team's last outing, the home win over Glasgow in the second leg of the 1872 Cup, he suggested there was no reason to expect that to change over the coming months. Bill has been a fine servant for the club, Laurie said. He's having a really good season and we expect that to continue. He's here until the end of the season, and sometimes when these things are announced it gives you a focus to really finish on a high, which I know Bill will want to do, because he's been such a good servant to the club. He is very, very diligent. Easy to coach. When you consider English is his second language, he's very switched on. I think you just get something a little bit different with Bill in terms of his ball carrying. I thought he was excellent against Glasgow. He's a good man and excellent to work with and I can't speak highly enough of him. Edinburgh's first game back after the New Year break is in the Challenge Cup on Friday, when they are at home to Gloucester. The English club are top of Pool C, 3 points clear of Edinburgh and 3 other teams, while Scarlets bring up the rear. That standing in Europe is in stark glory. Matter will make sure he ends Edinburgh's spell on a high contrast to their position in the Premiership, in which they are currently second bottom after losing their last 9 matches. Nonetheless, Laurie does not expect an easy tie at the Hive Stadium, and is convinced that Gloucester constitute a far greater threat than those results might suggest. They've been right in it. We know how good Clermont are, and that was a fantastic win. He said of Gloucester's 28-17 victory over the French side, who had beaten Edinburgh a week earlier in the opening round of pool games. The games that they've lost have been narrow losses. We know that with the coaches they've got, their pack is something that we'll have to make sure we can test with, and they've got a bit of a threat in their backline as well with guys like Louis Rees-Zammit and Johnny May. There's a lot of quality there. Edinburgh's 19-14 victory at Murrayfield over the Warriors may not have been enough to give them an aggregate victory in the 1872 Cup, but it did ensure that they ended the first half of the season on a high, with a record of 6 wins out of 9 games in the United Rugby Championship and 1 from 2 in the Challenge Cup. They lost their opening European fixture away to Clermont, but then beat Costa at home, and may now only be 1 win away from qualifying for the last 16. Our win against Costa and the other results have blown the group wide open, and it's important we keep the momentum going, the coach added. It's going to be tough against a good Gloucester side, but we're excited to be at the Hive. A break is often the last thing a team wants when they have just won a game and generated some momentum, but Laurie believes that the downtime the players had last week came at exactly the right point of a demanding season, one which, even before you take the URC playoffs into account, goes on up until the beginning of June. It was 11 games on the bounce, so it was nice for guys who have never had this week off before. He added, often when you come back after a week off, your first session is not the best, but the guys have trained really well. So hopefully they feel refreshed, and now it's important that we see the benefits of that time off. This article was read by Arthur. You are listening to the Glasgow Times talking newspaper from Q and Review, print speaking to the blind. We would love your feedback on our readers. So please visit our website to complete an online survey at www.qandreview.com/listener survey. Or after the 8th of January 2024, give us a call on 0141 648 4994 to speak directly to our managing editor. From the Glasgow Times Sports section published on Tuesday the 9th of January 2024. Snooker. The Masters. O'Sullivan hails magnificent ding as 147 not enough to halt world number 1. Ding Junhui made a magnificent Masters maximum, but it was Ronnie O'Sullivan who roared into the quarterfinals with a 6-3 victory at Alexander Palace. Ding registered a 7th career 147 in the 7th frame of their first round clash. The 36-year-old overcame a tricky yellow and a pink with the rest, which wobbled in the pocket before it dropped, to record only the 4th maximum at the tournament, and his second after previously achieving the feat as a teenager in 2007. Kirk Stevens, in 1984, and Marco Fu 9 years ago are the only other players to manage Masters 147s. Ding trailed O'Sullivan 4-0 at the mid-session interval, but the 7-time world champion missed a simple red to finally let him in. The Chinese star, Wright, immediately pulled 2 frames back before his magic moment left him trailing by 1 at 4-3. However, O'Sullivan, bidding for an 8th Masters title, hit straight back with a break of 127, and 2 visits to the table later he had wrapped up victory. Unbelievable 147 from Ding. I knew he'd make it from about the 2nd or 3rd red. What a magnificent player, O'Sullivan told the BBC. On his rapid response to the maximum, he added in typical O'Sullivan style, "Listen, I just tried. My cueing is not great. I was just trying to manufacture stuff out there. But I tried. There's nothing else you can do really, is there?" Ding was not at the races before the interval and surprised himself with his milestone break. "I had a lot of chances at the start but just messed up," he said. "I didn't think I would play that well when we came back, so to make a maximum was amazing. I saw the balls open and thought I could try for a maximum because Ronnie was playing so well." This article was read by Arthur. You are listening to the Glasgow Times talking newspaper from Q and Review, print speaking to the blind. We would love your feedback on our readers. So please visit our website to complete an online survey at www.qandreview.com/listener survey. Or after the 8th of January 2024, give us a call on 0141 648 4994 to speak directly to our managing editor. From the Glasgow Times Sports section published on Tuesday the 9th of January 2024. Pressure on for Team GB with European Championships up next. Cycling. Herb Lander. TE Great Britain men's team pursuit squad know they have little margin for error going into this WEEKSEUROPEAN championships. For 3 Olympic cycles, Britain reigned supreme in the blue ribband event before being deposed in Tokyo, But as another Olympic year begins, Britain must first ensure they actually qualify for Paris before setting their sights any higher. The crash which prematurely ended Britain's home World Championships in Glasgow last August also cost them vital qualification points. The top 10 nations qualify for the Olympics, but Britain sit 11th, left playing catch-up when competition starts in Appledorn on Wednesday and in the Nations Cups to follow. "We want to be on the start line in Paris, and if you stop the clock now, we're not," said Dan Bigham, part of a squad heading to the Netherlands that also includes Ethan Hayter, back after twice breaking his collarbone on the road last year. "The Worlds obviously didn't go the way we wanted, so it's about rectifying the errors of the past and getting ourselves on the start line for Paris. That's the number one priority. We want to try to win, but we want to do it in a clean, safe way and not throw caution to the wind in any fashion. It's a tight one, but if we keep performing as we did prior to the Worlds, we should gain those points back and be relatively safe. It's not a complete red alert, but it's something we're acutely aware of." Going into Tokyo, the 32-year-old aerodynamics expert was working for Denmark as a consultant, helping them take Team Pursuit silver, while believing his own chance of ever riding at that level had gone. Bigham is determined to take the opportunity now in front of him, but he will also continue to put his expertise to use in helping his teammates, even while battling them for selection. "My belief is it's better to roll the dice, as it were, and possibly not be in the squad but know the team is in their absolutely best shape possible when we get to Paris," he said. "But at the same time I'm confident I can be on the team and there is a space for me. It's a hard one, but I'm doing all I can within the realms of what I've got to make sure everyone is better." While Glasgow went horribly wrong for Britain's male pursuiters, the women's team took gold on their home boards and will go to Appledorn as world champions. It continued a whirlwind rise for Josie Knight, a late addition to the Olympic squad that won silver in Tokyo, but now a mainstay of the team. In Glasgow, the 26-year-old proved her value to the team as, with Katie Archibald not at her best during a difficult time, Knight stepped up to anchor Britain's gold medal-winning ride. 3 years ago, Knight was fighting every day just to make the team. Now she is a world champion and has proven her ability to do long turns on the front, yet the pressure is still on. "It's funny how the brain works," Knight said. "In Tokyo I would have done anything to be that rider. I would have told myself, if only I could do a 3-lap turn, things would be so much easier. Now I'm a rider who can do that, but you're constantly thinking, what if I don't have it today? It always feels stressful and high pressure. But there is a sense of calm that comes with knowing I've done it before. I know it's in me and I can do it again. Hopefully that's in Paris." This article was read by Arthur. You're listening to the Glasgow Times talking newspaper from Q and Review Print speaking to the blind. We would love your feedback on our readers. So please visit our website to complete an online survey at www.qandreview.com/listener survey. Or after the 8th of January 2024, give us a call on 0141 648 4994 to speak directly to our managing editor. From the Glasgow Times sports section published on Tuesday, the 9th of January 2024. Woods hints at end to iconic 27-year partnership with Nike. Tiger Woods appears to have confirmed that his long and lucrative partnership with sportswear manufacturer Nike has come to an end. The 15-time major winner has worn or used the company's products throughout his professional career. It is reported the partnership has been worth more than £392 million to the player, who turned professional in 1996. Woods, 48, wrote on X, formerly Twitter, over 27 years ago, "I was fortunate to start a partnership with one of the most iconic brands in the world. The days since have been filled with so many amazing moments and memories. If I started naming them, I could go on forever. Phil Knight's passion and vision brought this Nike and Nike Golf partnership together, and I want to personally thank him, along with the Nike employees and incredible athletes I have had the pleasure of working with along the way." People will ask if there is another chapter. Yes, there will certainly be another chapter. See you in LA. Woods is a tournament host of the Genesis Invitational in Los Angeles next month. Article by Phil Casey. This article was read by Arthur. You are listening to the Glasgow Times talking newspaper from Q and Review Print speaking to the blind. We would love your feedback on our readers. So please visit our website to complete an online survey at www.qandreview.com/listener survey. Or after the 8th of January 2024, give us a call on 0141 648 4994 to speak directly to our managing editor.
This is from the Glasgow Times on Wednesday, the 10th of January 2024. From the sports section. Gerrard plots Rangers reunion as Kent Al-Ettifaq target. Article by David Irvin. Steven Gerrard is plotting a Rangers reunion with Ryan Kent at Al-Ettifaq according to our report. It's claimed the former Ibrox duo could be reunited in the Saudi League during the January window. Kent left Rangers on a free transfer in the summer and signed with Turkish giants Fenerbahce, but has struggled for significant game time. The winger has featured just 15 times so far this term, with many of his outings coming from the bench, and he hasn't played a minute in the league for Fenerbahce since November the 11th. That has sparked suggestions the forward player could exit the club this month. Sports broadcaster Ben Jacobs has reported Gerrard is keen on a move for Kent this month. It's reported the manager held a 3-hour recruitment meeting with Al Ettifaq Chiefs on Monday, and Kent was one of 2 players identified for the January window. The other player reportedly on the club's radar is Al Hilal's Abdellah Al Malki. Jacobs reported on X, formerly Twitter, 2 Al Ettifaq targets for this window are Fenerbahce's Ryan Kent and Al Hilal's Abdellah Al Malki. Steven Gerrard was part of a 3-hour recruitment meeting on Monday. Liverpool's Joel Matip and Villa's Bertrand Traore also discussed for summer 2024. Hull City has been credited with a serious interest in Kent, with a £2 million offer on the table. However, the move appears to have gone no further, leaving the possibility of a Saudi switch for Kent. Hull boss Liam Rossinier had previously remained coy over a possible move for Kent. He had said, "For me, I don't comment on other players at other clubs. I focus on the work we do here. I focus on the bodies I have in the squad. We have a plan and we know what we want. I've never done it and I won't start now, speaking about individual players at other clubs." That article was by David Irvin. This is from the Glasgow Times on Wednesday, the 10th of January 2024. From the sports section. Gustav Lagerbielke, Celtic transfer exit state of play. Article by David Irvin. Gustav Lagerbielke is reportedly set to exit Celtic for the Serie A this month, with 2 clubs in contact over his availability. The central defender joined Celtic in the summer on a 5-year deal, but could depart on loan this month. Lagerbielke, 23, has played just 9 times for Celtic so far this season, and coach John Kennedy had admitted the club will look to trim down on their central defensive options this month. It has led to vast speculation that Lagerbielke could move on with Lecce and Genoa, credited with significant interest in the Sweden international. Tutto Mercato Web reports that discussions between Lecce and Celtic are ongoing. That's despite fears a move could be dropped, with Lecce keen on permanent signings rather than loans. Stitchy Damiani said, "Not so much making impromptu operations, but following our logic with young and owned players. Except for particular things, so no loans we are a little against. We have 90% of the players owned." And it's further claimed that Genoa have sights set on a move for Lagerbielke as they brace for Radu Dragusin to depart the club this month. And in a transfer twist, Lecce reportedly still have a preferential channel to sign Lagerbielke because of a relationship with Lagerbielke's agent through current player Pontus Almqvist. Speaking last month, Kennedy stated a few players will leave the club in January, with a special mention over central defender outgoings. He said, "It's a position where we have a lot of players. In January, there's going to have to be a couple that will go and get game time elsewhere and trim the squad down a little bit. If anything, we're carrying a lot of numbers, so there will be a lot on the periphery who we just need to go and get game time or maybe move on. Everyone will have their own agenda on that. When it comes to it, there's going to be 4 or 5 centre-backs in every squad, and at that point it's a case of competing with each other and pushing each other and being ready to step in whenever you're called upon. Stephen Welsh the other night, he hadn't featured in a long time as he was unfortunate in picking up an ankle injury early on this season. He came in out of nowhere and performed the way he did, which he did really well. That's what you've got to be ready for. There could be suspensions or an injury. Cameron is the one who's been the most consistent over the years and is an important player for us. I think everybody sees that, but that all changes on a week-by-week basis. You've got to be ready to play, and when you come in, you've got to give the team your all. That article was by David Irvin. This is from the Glasgow Times on Wednesday, the 10th of January 2024, from the sports section. Luke, the Nuke Littler, inspires darts interest in league near Glasgow. Article by Ava White. A darts league is hoping to get more youngsters involved in the sport to help secure its future. Clydebank and District Darts League, which is now in its third season, want to see more young people picking up their first set of darts following the recent World Championships. The sensational event was held at Alexandra Palace in London and saw 16-year-old Luke the Nuke Littler make it all the way to the finals. Robert McLachlan, who plays out of the Atlantis bar in Colbowie, told the Glasgow Times he hopes the league will be able to keep the momentum of the championships going locally. The 67-year-old said, "Luke Littler has definitely had an influence on kids because it's like anything else. Kids look for role models, and when they see somebody at that age doing what he did, which was absolutely sensational, it will pique their interest. We have 12 teams in the league right now, and we want to keep the interest going. We would like every team to have some youngsters playing for them. We would like to keep the momentum of the World Championships going, because locally it's quite an old sport. There's only a few youngsters involved in our league, but we want to take it to the next level. If we can get more youngsters involved now, the future of this league would be secured for years to come." Prior to the COVID pandemic, there were 2 darts leagues in Clydebank, but these folded, forcing players to travel to Paisley and Glasgow to get games. Robert explained that after lockdown, a number of local Arrow enthusiasts said they weren't keen on travelling out of the area anymore, and so the current league was formed. It covers Clydebank, Drumchapel and Yoker. Thomas McColgan, another member of the league who plays out of Chandler's, has been involved in the sport since he was just 4 years old, regularly attending competitions with his mum, dad, stepdad and gran. The 31-year-old highlighted some issues the league has encountered in encouraging more youth players, but revealed the ways in which it is working to overcome these. He said, "This is the first season that we've had such young players actively getting involved. When we first started, we weren't sure what to do with this situation. Kids wanting to compete arose because we knew predominantly most games were held in pubs and social clubs, so where would they stand? How long could they stay? To what extent could they be in the venues, etc. Now we've got more of a system up and running. It's been encouraging to see messages coming into our Facebook inbox from parents, grandparents and guardians asking about getting their son or daughter interested in the sport. We always encourage kids to come along to the tournaments on Saturdays, as these are private functions and therefore shut off to the public. We've been speaking about what the best way to start a junior league would be, including looking for alcohol-free venues on a Sunday. There's 4 or 5 of us who predominantly run the league, and we would happily give up our time because we know it's a great initiative if it does encourage young people to join. We might not get more than 8 or 10 people, but that's 8 or 10 more than we would have had. Those interested in getting involved are asked to contact Robert McLachlan on 07852 184477. That article was by Ava White. This is from the Glasgow Times on Wednesday, the 10th of January 2024, from the sports section. Rangers versus Hertha Berlin, TV channel, live stream and kick-off. Article by David Irvin. Rangers will face Hertha Berlin this weekend as preparations ramp up ahead of the Scottish Premiership's winter break coming to an end. The club last played in the 3-1 win over Kilmarnock on January the 2nd, before the top flight shutdown, and Rangers won't be back in competitive action until the Scottish Cup match against Dumbarton on Saturday, January the 20th. However, Philippe Clement will put his players through their paces in 2 friendly matches before then. First, Rangers will play Bundesliga side Hertha Berlin in a closed-door match in Spain on Saturday. Then, Copenhagen visit Ibrox on Tuesday, January the 16th, for a warm-up fixture open to supporters. Here's everything you need to know about the match between Rangers and Hertha Berlin. When is Rangers versus Hertha Berlin? Rangers will take on Hertha Berlin on Saturday, January the 13th. The match will be played in Spain at the La Manga complex. Kick-off is scheduled for 3 p.m. Is Rangers versus Hertha Berlin on TV? No, the match will not be broadcast live on television. Can I live stream Rangers versus Hertha Berlin? Yes, the match will be streamed for free by Rangers TV. Further details have yet to be announced. Can I watch the match in person in Spain? No. The club have announced the match will be played behind closed doors. Supporters have been urged against travelling to watch the match. A statement confirmed. Rangers will travel to Spain for a winter training camp to allow Philippe Clement the opportunity to prepare his squad for the second half of the season. Gers will be abroad for an intensive camp in January before returning for the Copenhagen match at Ibrox on Tuesday the 16th of January. Whilst in Spain, Rangers will take on Hertha Berlin in a closed-door match. Supporters are urged not to travel as access will not be granted. The game will, however, be streamed for free by Rangers TV. Further details will follow in due course. That article was by David Irvin. This is from the Glasgow Times on Wednesday, the 10th of January 2024, from the sports section. Roy Keane details Man United to Celtic drop in standard shock. Article by Aidan MacDonald. Roy Keane has claimed he has enjoyed his time at Celtic, despite there being 1 or 2 idiots in the playing squad. The former Ireland international finished his career at Parkhead after leaving Manchester United. He made his debut in the 2-1 Scottish Cup defeat to Clyde, but would go on to win a League Cup and Scottish Premiership during his 6 months in Glasgow. And Keane has opened up on the culture shock he received when he first joined the Hoops, particularly in terms of the standards of the training ground. Speaking on Gary Neville's Stick to Football podcast, he said, I went to Celtic, an iconic and amazing club. The stadium is amazing, but I hadn't really seen the training ground. I'm going back a few years. They have a good one now. I was in the dressing room with Celtic. We got changed at Celtic Park and drove to the ground in our boots and gear. I didn't kick a ball at Celtic. I was injured all the time. What I did enjoy, for all my comfort zone at Manchester United, and I loved every minute of my time at Manchester, was that it was good to be in another dressing room for 6 months. The Celtic lads, there were 1 or 2 idiots, but generally speaking, they are great lads. I mixed with different lads, different dynamics, and I really enjoyed my time at Celtic. Keane also claimed that then-manager Gordon Strachan took a step back from transfers and that this was something he admired. When Gordon Strachan was manager at Celtic and Gordon had a bit of success, but he said he backed away from all transfers. He continued. He went, I've bought too many bad players. Gordon held his hand up and said, I'm not good at spotting players and bringing players in. He'd obviously had some success in terms of bringing players in when he was at Coventry, but he got to the stage where he went, "I'm backing away from all transfers." I'm sure he had some sort of conversations, but didn't get involved, and that's an experienced manager. That article was by Aidan MacDonald.
From the Glasgow Times Sports section published on Thursday 11th of January 2024. GB Women's Sprint Team claims silver. Cycling. Great Britain claimed silver in the women's team sprint on day one at the European Track Championships in the Netherlands. The team of Emma Finucane, Sophie Capewell, Laurie Thomas and Katie Marchant were narrowly edged out by Germany in the battle for gold, having eased past Ukraine in the first round by setting the second fastest time. Individual sprint world champion Finucane was pleased with her team's ride and is confident they are heading in the right direction ahead of this summer's Paris Olympics. "I feel like we came into this with a lot of training behind us and we wanted to execute through really good rides," Finucane said. "I feel like we have done that as a team and I am really proud of all of us. We nailed our processes and put down a time that we are really proud of. We are coming. We are not far off, so I am really excited." Marchant added, "We keep pushing the Germans to almost breaking world records, if not breaking records, every time we come up against them. It is really exciting. We have a long-term goal and that is Paris. We are really confident in our ability and I think as a team we are in a really good place." Britain's men's sprint team were unable to follow suit in Apeldoorn after falling short in their bronze medal race against Poland. A spirited ride from the team of Ali Fielding, Hamish Turnbull and Jack Carlin was not enough to earn a medal, with the Netherlands beating France in the gold medal race. Will Tidball ensured the opening night ended on a high for Great Britain by claiming silver in the elimination race. The 23-year-old, the scratch world champion, picked up his first individual European medal as he finished behind Denmark's Tobias Hansen and ahead of Belgium's Jules Hesters. Tidball said, "It is a good start to 2024. It was nice to get in a race again. Sadly, it was silver. Lots of positives to take. He is a deserving winner. I am excited. It's a big year, isn't it? After winning the world's last year, the scratch race, that was massive. If you had told me last year that I'd be getting a medal at the Euros, I'd probably be happy, but the fact I'm a bit disappointed shows the standard I am going for now." This article was read by Amy. You are listening to the Glasgow Times talking newspaper from Q and Review, print speaking to the blind. We would love your feedback on our readers. So please visit our website to complete an online survey at www.qandreview.com/listener survey. From the 8th of January 2024, give us a call at 0141 648 4994 to speak directly to our managing editor. From the Glasgow Times Sports section published on Thursday 11th of January 2024. Norrie gears up for Grand Slam by reaching last 8 in Auckland. Tennis article by Hayley Milne. Cameron Norrie continued his Australian Open preparations with victory over Frenchman Luca van Aarse in the second round of the ASB Classic in Auckland. The British number one saw off his 19-year-old opponent 6-3, 6-7, 6-8, 6-1 in just under 2.5 hours to set up a quarter-final against Chile's Alejandro Tabilo. Having claimed the opening set, Norrie had match point in the tie-break before Van Aarse came through to bring the match level. He was then broken by Van Aarse in the opening game of set 3 before hitting back emphatically, rattling off 6 games in succession to secure the win. Norrie, who was brought up in New Zealand and is seeded 19th for the Australian Open ahead of today's draw in Melbourne, said, "I think it was exactly what I needed. I had to fight hard and the crowd got behind me. It's the match I needed before Australia. This is a special tournament for me." At the Adelaide International, Jack Draper is also into the quarter-finals after saving 2 match points in a comeback win over Serbia's Miomir Kekmanovic. The British number 4 was down a set, but won the next 2 in a tie-break as he earned a marathon 5-7, 7-6, 11-9, 7-6, 9-7 victory in 3 hours and 39 minutes. Following a back-and-forth opening set, the intensity lifted in the second as Draper fought to stay alive. Despite facing 2 match points in the tie breaks, the 22-year-old held on to claim the set and, ultimately, the match. Draper will face number 1 seed Tommy Paul. The American, who overcame Alex Bolt 6-3, 6-2, said, "I lost to him, Draper, last year here. He's obviously been working hard the past couple of months too. I'm sure he's Hayley Milne gears up for Grand Slam by reaching last 8 in Auckland, probably feeling a little tired right now but should be totally fine tomorrow. He's a pretty hard worker, he's fit and playing well, obviously, so it should be a fun match." Dan Evans was unable to join Draper in the last 8 as Alexander Bublik came from behind to defeat the British number 2. After starting well to claim the first set, Evans was then broken to go 4-2 down in the second, and he would secure only one of the games that followed as Kazakhstan's Bublik surged to a 4-6, 6-2, 6-1 win. Evans, returning to action at this tournament after his 2023 campaign was ended prematurely by a calf injury, will be unseeded at a Grand Slam for the first time since 2019 at today's Australian Open draw. Emma Raducanu's preparations for the year's first major are not going to plan. She will no longer take part in the Kooyong Classic today. The former US Open champion was set to take on 16-year-old Mira Andreeva in the Melbourne suburbs, but is not featured on the schedule of play. She withdrew from a charity match this week after reporting she felt sore following practice on Monday. Harriet Dart is into the second round of Australian Open qualifying after earning a straight sets victory over Italy's Nuria Brancaccio in Melbourne. The British number 3 cruised through the first set but was pushed in the second, ultimately holding on for a 6-2, 7-6, 7-4 win. The 12th seed will take on Ukrainian world number 152 Yulia Staratatseva. British number 7 Fran Jones also progressed to the second round with a 6-2, 6-4 win against France's Margot Rouvroy. It was a different story for Heather Watson, however, as the British number 4 fell in straight sets to Switzerland's Lulu Sun. In the men's draw, Britain's Oliver Crawford advanced with a 6-3, 3-6, 6-1 victory over Belarusian Ilya Ivashka, while British number 6 Jan Choinsky went down to Germany's Benjamin Hassan 6-4, 6-0. This article was read by Amy. You are listening to the Glasgow Times talking newspaper from Q and Review, print speaking to the blind. We would love your feedback on our readers. So please visit our website to complete an online survey at www.qandreview.com/listener survey. From the 8th of January 2024, give us a call at 0141 648 4994 to speak directly to our managing editor. From the Glasgow Times Sports section published on Thursday 11th of January 2024. Scotstoun Salah insists try record. Warriors hooker Matthews has Van der Merwe tally in his sights but says sole focus is on team success. Ewan Robertson rugby writer. Scotstoun Salah insists try record. There was no hesitation from Johnny Matthews overcommitting his future to Glasgow, but the popular hooker refuses to be decisive when it comes to the Warriors' all-time try-scoring record. Matthews has signed a new 2-year deal to keep him at Scotstoun until the end of the 2025-26 season after he was rewarded for his excellent form. The 30-year-old initially joined on a short-term contract in 2019, but his phenomenal scoring prowess has earned him cult hero status among the club's supporters. Matthews is comfortably the top try scorer in the URC with 10 this season, and he is in Glasgow's top 5 in their history with 34 tries in 60 appearances. Matthews scored a remarkable 20 tries in 2023 alone, and that is the same number that he is behind Glasgow's record scorer DTH Van der Merwe, but the humble hooker was coy over whether that number was a target. If I keep playing and the maul keeps on going well, then I suppose Glasgow Warriors hooker Johnny Matthews has been rewarded for his fine scoring. There's every chance I might get close to it, Matthews said. If you start to look at stuff like that, then it starts to affect the rest of your game. If I'm lucky enough to get on the back of a few good mauls, then I'm happy to be the one to put the ball down and score. As long as I'm fit and still in the squad, then hopefully I will have the opportunity to score a few more tries along the way. Not all of my tries have come from the maul. I've scored a few from open play as well. Glasgow's impressive rolling maul from lineouts is feared across Europe, and Matthews has been the main beneficiary. While the majority of his tries have come from that avenue, Matthews has also demonstrated his pace, and the Liverpudlian joked it was required growing up in Merseyside. Apparently, I'm deceptively quite fast. But, growing up in Liverpool, you need a decent turn of pace, Matthews said with a laugh. We work hard here to be all-round athletes. You don't want to be one-dimensional, especially as a forward. I don't actually know where I'd rank in the speed tests. The backs and forwards do them separately, but I would definitely be up there. I'd back myself over 10 metres against most of the forwards. The boyhood Everton fan was not amused at being nicknamed the Scotstoun Salah, a reference to the football club City rivals Liverpool's forward Mohamed, recently, but talk of his new deal at Glasgow brings a smile to his face as it provides stability in a place he has grown to love. It's massively important, Matthew replied when asked about the security of a longer-term contract. For me and my wife, we have that little bit of security now for the next few years. It's a huge relief and a nice little weight off the shoulders to have that little bit of security. I've loved Glasgow as a city. It's similar to Liverpool, but I actually live in Edinburgh, and that's great as well. My mum is from Glasgow, along with all her family, so it's been a great place for me. If I'm honest, when I first came up to Scotland, I probably didn't see myself staying this long. I was originally just signed as cover for the World Cup, but then I kept getting little extensions along the way. To be here for this long, and now have a new extension for the next few years, it's a dream come true. It has been a whirlwind for me. Matthew's Glasgow form ultimately paid the biggest dividends possible in rugby when he was called up to the Scotland squad during the World Cup. The hooker flew over as emergency cover, and he made his international debut against Romania. Typically, Matthews crossed the white line, and his try-scoring ability will ensure that he is firmly on Gregor Townsend's mind when he names his initial Six Nations squad. That's out of my hands, he said. I'm just trying to focus on playing well here at Glasgow and putting my hand up. If I can do that, then hopefully I'm in with a shot of getting into the national team for the Six Nations. I had a taste of it during the World Cup, and that was obviously a great experience for me. It's a special group to be part of. It would be massive to get back into the squad if I can do it. Next up for Glasgow is a daunting trip to Exeter in the Champions Cup, but Matthews says the squad will travel in positive spirits after revitalising their qualification hopes last time out in France. The confidence from beating Bayonne was important for us, Matthews added. I think Exeter are a very similar team to ourselves. They work hard for each other, they graft, and they put a lot of emphasis on their set piece as well. It'll be a big challenge for us. But we saw what Northampton did down there last week, and we have confidence that we can go there and get a result as well. This article was read by Amy. You are listening to the Glasgow Times talking newspaper from Q and Review, print speaking to the blind. We would love your feedback on our readers. So please visit our website to complete an online survey at www.qandreview.com/listener survey. From the 8th of January 2024, give us a call at 0141 648 4994 to speak directly to our managing editor. From the Glasgow Times Sports section published on Thursday 11th of January 2024. Digest. Basketball. Pat Whelan says Caledonia Gladiators will keep fighting to defend the Barrel Trophy despite long odds of reaching the semi-finals. Gareth Murray's men must win at Sheffield Sharks tonight to stand any chance of progress from the group stages, but the Great Britain Guard says the holders can't get weighed down by the pressure of breaking their duck in Yorkshire. We have goals to get to the final, and you have that pressure for a reason, he said. We just have to go out there and not focus too much on the big picture. I think we've talked too much about, we need to win this many games, rather than one game at a time. But we know we can be better. We've definitely dropped some games we weren't supposed to. Sometimes we can tend to play down to the other team's level. We've had a few injuries also to some key players. We know we've got work to do, but we're confident in ourselves. Prince Onwas is expected to return after illness for the Scots. Hockey 4 Scots have been named in the Great Britain squads for this week's Olympic qualifying tournaments. The selection of Katie Robertson continues the meteoric rise in her GP career, with the 27-year-old from Fruki in Fife only having recently joined the GB training squad and making her debut in the 5 Pro League matches against the Netherlands and Argentina last month. The former Edinburgh University midfielder is joined by Sarah Robertson and defender Amy Costello, but Charlotte Watson, who also played in the Pro League matches, was not included in the squad. Lee Morton is the only Scot selected for the men's squad. The GB teams must come in the top 3 in their respective tournaments of 8 nations to go to Paris this summer. The men are in Muscat and start with a pool competition against Pakistan, Malaysia and China, while the women play Canada, Spain and Malaysia in Valencia. Motorsport Günther Steiner, the star of Formula One's Drive to Survive series, has been sacked by Haas. The 58-year-old Italian earned a cult following after his X-rated outbursts on the successful Netflix show. But Steiner's reign as team principal for the American team is over after owner Gene Haas dispensed of his services with immediate effect. Steiner had been Haas team principal since the team entered F1 in 2016, but they finished 10th and last in the 2023 Constructors' Championship, scoring points at only 4 of the 22 races. He will be replaced by Ao Komatsu, the Japanese Loughborough University graduate who is promoted from his role as trackside engineering director. Racing Fontwell's meeting today has been abandoned with parts of the course frozen and another cold night forecast. Tomorrow's racing at Wincanton is also under threat due to frost. This article was read by Amy. You are listening to the Glasgow Times talking newspaper from Q and Review, Prince speaking to the blind. We would love your feedback on our readers. So please visit our website to complete an online survey at www.qandreview.com/listener survey. From the 8th of January 2024, give us a call at 0141 648 4994 to speak directly to our managing editor.
From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 13th of January 2024, from the sports section, Rangers 0, Hertha Berlin 1. Clermont sent off during loss by sports writer David Irvin. Rangers fell to a narrow defeat to Hertha Berlin in a friendly clash in La Manga. Philip Clermont's side couldn't break down the Bundesliga 2 side who had snatched the lead at the end of the first half, and Rangers played without Clermont on the sidelines for much of the second half, after the manager was sent off for protesting a decision to penalise Scott Wright instead of awarding him a free kick. It was a much rotated Rangers side in Spain for the winter break match, with 2 separate 11s sent out before and after the break. Rangers began with Roth McClory, James Tavernier, John Suter, Leon Balogun, Ruud van Yilmaz, John Lundstrom, Nico Raskin, Dujon Sterling, Todd Cantwell, Rabbi Matondo and Fabio Silva. Rangers started brightly with Rabbi Matondo looking to make the most of an early spell of pressure as he hammered goalwards, but Hertha keeper Tjark Ernst beat the ball clear. 6 minutes later, McCrory was called into action as an awkward bounce in the box forced the keeper into a makeshift clearance to remove the danger. Matondo again fired towards goal from distance with 24 minutes on the clock, but again, Ernst was equal to the effort and saved comfortably. Seconds from the break, and Hertha Berlin would snatch a lead in Spain. A corner into the front post found captain Mark Oliver Kempf, who sent a looping header into the far corner, leaving McCrory stranded in the Rangers' goal. After the break, Clermont onto his side with Jack Butland, Leon King, Connor Goldson, John Lee Ufeko, Robbie Fraser, Jose Cifuentes, Cole McKinnon, Bailey Rice, Ross McCausland, Scott Wright and Cyril Dessers starting the second period. Just 7 minutes after the break, and Clement was sent off by the match referee after complaining of a free kick given against Wright, who had fallen under pressure from Hertha Berlin defenders. The referee halted the match after giving a free kick and produced a red card to Clement for his complaint over the decision. Just before the hour mark, and Wright passed up a major opening. He pinched a loose ball in the edge of the box, but could only drag his effort wide of the post. 5 minutes later, Butland was called upon to make a smart stop from Dere Schneernohan, who had snatched the ball from Goldson. Dessers would go close with 65 minutes played, as his improved effort forced Ernst to beat the ball clear of the goal.
Evening Times Sport.
In that article, it's by David Irvin.
Hamish Watson sets sight on
From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 13th of January 2024, in the sports section,
Watson hangs up his
Rapid
boots,
Vienna boss in Kuhn admission amid Celtic transfer talk, by David Irvin, sports writer. Celtic target Nicholas Kuhn won't feature in a friendly match for Rapid Vienna this afternoon. The Austrian club are scheduled to face Wiener Sport Club on Saturday in friendly action, but Kuhn won't be risked for the fixture. Reports in Austrian outlet Courier state Kuhn is ready to feature after light strength training earlier in the week, but he won't be included in the matchday squad. Instead, a no-risk approach will be adopted for Kuhn as transfer talks with Celtic continue. If there was a league game, both Kongolo and Kuhn could play, but we don't want to risk anything, said Rapid boss Robert Klaus. Celtic are reportedly in advanced talks to land Kuhn as their first signing of the January transfer window. The 24-year-old is thought to be closing in on a £3 million transfer switch to join Brendan Rodgers' side, and Courier reports that Celtic's approach impressed the former German youth international. Kuhn is under contract with the club until 2026, after signing a lengthy deal on his arrival from Bayern Munich and a £500,000 deal in summer 2022. The forward has 3 goals and 7 assists across 22 appearances for Rapid this season. Rodgers has previously signalled his interest in boosting the Parkhead side's attacking options, with Daisen Maeda, Yang Hyun-jun and Oh Young-gyu being called up for the respective countries to play at the Asian Cup. He said, "Obviously, we've been trying to anticipate the guys over the last few months who are going away to the Asian Cup, so clearly, if Daisen, Maeda, and Kyogo Furuhashi are away, then we would have to do something in the market." Meanwhile, Celtic prospect Kwon Hyuk-kyu, 22, has agreed a loan switch to St Mirren until the end of the season. And that article was written by David Irvin and read by me, Ian.
It was nice to be back out there. It seems like
From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 15th of January, from the sports section. Bucky Boss explains why his side have already won Celtic clash. Article by Aidan MacDonald. Bucky Thistle boss Graham Stewart insists the Highland League side have already won their Scottish Cup tie against Celtic because of the cash injection and the media coverage. The Jacks face the Hoops at Parkhead on Sunday, January the 21st, and Stewart has maintained the importance of making sure his team are prepared, otherwise things could get silly. Bucky Thistle prepared for the clash in Glasgow with a 1-0 victory over Huntly on Saturday, and their manager claims they are looking forward to the fixture. Speaking to the BBC Scottish Football podcast, he said he spoke about the upcoming Celtic tie before the game against Huntly on Saturday. We said, look, if we don't win this game, then we probably aren't going to enjoy the following week as much as we would. I'm absolutely delighted with the 3-2 win last weekend, because we can now enjoy the next week. I honestly haven't thought about it. I will now, don't get me wrong. I'm focusing on it now. We have to be honest. We have won already by getting there. We have won in terms of finances for the club, and the exposure the club has got has been fantastic. So we have taken in new fans and sponsorship. All of that has been amazing, but our focus was on the league. That's what I was doing. I have a full-time job and a family. Now I can fully focus on it. I have already started today. I have already apologised to the guys because they are going to get bombarded with information over the next week. We are going to need it. It's nothing like we have faced before.
So not many
We all have
boys
to be
in this
focused and
squad
pressured.
would have been around back then.
If we aren't prepared, then it could
Credit
get
to
silly.
them. They're a good team and
And that
really
article was
tough
written
to
by
beat.
Aidan MacDonald.
And we're playing them when they're at their best as well.
From the Glasgow
They've won
Times,
16
Monday
games
the
in a
15th
row,
of January,
and
from the
they
sports
obviously
section.
look great against South Africa.
Celtic defender no
But
closer
that's
to finding
probably
new
the way
club
we
amid
prefer
transfer
it,
links.
as underdogs,
Article
being
by Aidan
written off
MacDonald.
and needing to win by 8
Gustav
points or
Lagerbielke
more.
is reportedly
This is going
no
to be
closer
really
to finding
good
a new
week
club and
leading
leaving
into a
Celtic.
massive game for the whole
This is according to the Daily Record, who claim that the
Hugh
centre-back
Jones,
appears to be staying
Finn
put at
Russell,
Parkhead despite
Ali
recent
Price,
interest from Serie A.
Xander Fagerson and Richie Gray.
Lagerbielke joined
the
from
only other
Elfsborg for £3 million
survivors in the
during the
current
summer
squad
transfer window,
from
but
that
has struggled to make an impact at
2017 game.
Parkhead. The Sweden
Meanwhile,
international has made just 9
the most
appearances for the
painful of
Scottish champions,
Scotland's 8
with his only goal
consecutive
coming in the
defeats to
2-1 victory
Ireland
over
since
Feyenoord
then
in the Champions League.
was undoubtedly the opening game
Despite
of the
injuries
last
earlier in the
World
season
Cup,
to Cameron
when
Carter-Vickers,
Watson suffered
Mike
that knee
Navarroke
injury,
and Stephen Welsh,
and the team
the
endured a
23-year-old struggled to regular
morale-crushing
minutes and more recently failed to make matchday
27-3
squads.
loss on the way to
Meanwhile,
plummeting out
Celtic
of the
Academy
tournament
star
at
Mackenzie
the
Carse
end
is
of
set
the
for a loan
pool
move to the
phase.
Scottish Championship.
But Watson insists that
The
the
19-year-old
squad is
midfielder
better
is
equipped
reportedly
now
set to join
to
Queen's
face
Park
the
on loan
challenge
until
of
the end of the
taking on
season.
a rampant island
Football
than they
Scotland
were
claim the
4
teenager
years
will
ago.
join up with new Spiders boss
Anti-reason.
Callum Davidson
There's
and
a
his
lot
squad
of
after a deal was
continuity
agreed
at the
between the
moment.
two clubs.
We have been building really
Carse
well.
has made 18
I
appearances
think
in the
the
Lowland
squad as
League
a
this
whole
term for
is a
Celtic
lot
B.
tighter
He scored
and in
7
a
goals
lot
from
better
midfield.
place.
He has played
I
for
know
Celtic
we
since he was
say we're a
13.
close-knit group quite
It's
a
believed
lot,
Celtic will
but
one of
if
their
it's
top academy
true,
prospects to be playing at a
everyone who
higher
gets
level at this
selected
stage of his development,
doesn't take it lightly.
and so Queen's Park has
It
been
feels
trusted
like
with
they've
him
got
until the
some
end of
good
the campaign.
momentum leading into what's going to be
Queen's
a
Park are
massive game
desperately
for
looking
us
to bolster their
against
squad
the
this
best
month
team
after a
in
difficult
the
first
world.
half of the season. They
Of
currently
course,
sit 8th in the
it is not
Championship,
necessarily
still very
going
much
to
in
be a
relegation
straight
trouble.
shootout between
Their
Watson
ambitions
and
at the start of
Dart
the season were to
for
make
the
a
number
promotion
7
push,
jersey.
and those playoff
Captain
dreams
and
appear to be
blindside
dwindling.
flanker Jamie Ritchie
And that article was
suffered a
written by Aidan
concussion
MacDonald.
against Tonga 8 days ago and will only complete
From the
his
Glasgow
return
Times,
to play protocols
Monday the
this
15th
coming
of January,
Friday, if
from the
there are
sports
no
section,
hiccups. The Scotland
ex-Celtic and
management
St
team
Mirren
believe
goalkeeper
he's
Dennis
making good
Conaghan
progress,
dies, aged
but
79.
if Ritchie does not make
Article
it,
by football
then
writer
that could
Aidan
open the
MacDonald.
door for both Watson and Dart
Former
being
Celtic and St
involved
Mirren goalkeeper
in
Dennis
match
Conaghan
day
has died
23.
aged 79 following a battle with
Report by
illness.
David Barnes.
The shot stopper played for the Parkhead side for 6
Evening
years
Times
across 2
Sport,
spells between
October
1963
2.
and
Michael
1977.
Beale breaks Rangers
Conaghan enjoyed
silence.
7 years in Paisley after
Report
leaving
by
Celtic
Aidan
for the
Smith.
first time, before returning to
Michael
feature
Beale
under
has
Jock Stein.
broken his Rangers silence
He
after
lifted
being
3 league
sacked
titles
by
in the
the
Scottish
Ibrox
Cup
club
during his
last
time at
night.
Celtic and played in the
The
infamous
Englishman
European Cup
was
semi-final
relieved of
shame
his
game
duties
against Atletico
with
Madrid
club legend
in
that Stephen
1974.
Davis, now in temporary
The
charge.
goalkeeper also had spells
Calls
at
for
Morton,
Beale's departure
Clyde,
increased following
Renfrew
the
and
3-1
Arthurlie,
defeat
while
by
spending several
Aberdeen
months on loan at
at
Yoker
Ibrox
Athletic
on
in
Saturday,
1963.
with the players again
In a club
booed
statement,
off
the
the
Scottish
park.
champion said,
A third loss
"Everyone
in
at
7
Celtic is saddened to hear of the
fixtures
death of former
left the Light
goalkeeper
Blues 7
Dennis
points
Conaghan,
behind
who
leaders
has passed away
Celtic,
at the age of
and with their
79.
title hopes
Over a
already
6-year
in
period
jeopardy.
between 1971 and 77,
Reacting to his
Dennis
dismissal,
played 56
Beale
times
took
for
to
Celtic, winning 3
Instagram
league
and
titles,
wrote,
the Scottish Cup in
"Thank you,
1974,
Rangers,
and also the
to
Dryborough Cup that
everyone
same year.
behind the scenes at the
He actually
training
began his
ground
football career
and
with Celtic
Ibrox,
back in
to the
1963,
board,
but left the
staff,
club a year
fans
later.
and all the players.
He would go on to
I
spend
will
7
always
years with St
follow and
Mirren before
support the
returning to
club from
Paradise
afar
when Jock
and
Stein
wish
signed
you
him in
every
October
success.
1971.
Now is the
He
time
made his
for
debut the same
everyone
month
to
in a
unite
2-1 league win
fully
against
behind
Dunfermline
Stephen
at Eastend
Davis
Park,
and the
and he would
team
go on to
in
make
the
14
coming
appearances
days.
that season,
There is still
helping the
so
Hoops win their
much to
7th
play
league
for
title
this
in a
season,
row.
and I have a strong belief
During his
in this
time at
group
Celtic,
of
he
players.
competed with
Thank
Ivan
you
Williams and
and
Ali
good luck.
Hunter for the number 1 jersey, and he was in the side which took on
Evening
Atletico
Times
Madrid in the
Sport,
1974 European Cup
October
semi-final,
2.
playing
Kevin
in both legs.
Muscat makes Rangers
He was
decision.
also in the starting 11 when the
Report
Hoops
by
beat Dundee
Aidan
United
Smith.
3-0 at Hampden to win the Scottish
Kevin
Cup in
Muscat
1974,
is keen to
while the previous week, he'd been part of the team which drew 1-1 away to Falkirk to clinch the club's 9th successive league title. Dennis also famously saved 2 penalties against Rangers in the 1974 Dryborough Cup final shootout, Celtic's only success in that short-lived competition. Dennis's last game for Celtic came on October the 6th, 1976, in a 5-0 home win over Albion Rovers in the second leg of the League Cup quarter-final. And that piece was written by Aidan MacDonald. From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 15th of January, from the sports section. Ex-Rangers defender Philip Hollander's subject of transfer bid? Article by sports writer Ewan Payton.
October 2.
Former Rangers defender Philip Hollander is at the centre of a transfer bid from a major European club. Anderlecht has reportedly lodged a formal offer for the Sweden centre-half. The 30-year-old has been playing for Odense in Denmark since departing Rangers last summer upon the expiry of his contract. He's made just 11 appearances for the club. However, he's clearly made the desired impact, with the Belgian giants Anderlecht on his tail. Renowned transfer guru Fabrizio Romano took to social media last night to lift the lid on a potential deal, with talks now set to take place between the clubs as they look to strike an agreement. He wrote on X, Anderlecht have sent a formal bid to Odense for Philip Hollander as the new centre-back. Discussions will take place in the next days. Hollander left Rangers after suffering from a glut of injury issues during his 4 years at Ibrox. Meanwhile, Scott Wright has lifted the lid on Philip Kamol's recent candid conversations with each Rangers player. The Belgian boss sat down with every player who made the journey up to Lomanga for the club's winter training camp to try to strengthen the bond between himself and the squad. The Gers players have been put through their paces during the winter break. As well as training sessions in the sun, they played a closed-door friendly against Hertha Berlin, with another game against AFC Copenhagen scheduled for tomorrow evening. However, Clement has also taken time away from the pitch to talk one-to-one with each of his players. That's something that has helped to provide clarity to Wright. He said, "It's been really good, it's been a lot of hard work, but it's been good to get this time to work with the manager, because we haven't really had that opportunity. It's good to get a block of time to get more training done and get his ideas across." In that article, it's by Ewan Payton. From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 15th of January, Sport. James Tavernier reveals special John Greig Rangers bond. Article by Aidan Smith. James Tavernier has opened up on his special bond with Rangers legend John Greig as he closes in on the club's all-time scoring record. The Ibrox skipper broke through the 100-goal barrier with the Guffin side last season, and, with 16 goals clocked this campaign, Greig's scoring record is now well and truly in sight. Tavernier sits just behind Greig's 120 total as he closes in. He has revealed the close bond between the pair, with both sharing a love for all things Rangers. He reliably informs me to score all the goals I do with a broken leg, Tavernier told the Rangers Review. I got to see a lot more of Mr. Greig when I started at Rangers. He used to come into the back room at Dr. Jackson's when the stadium was a bit different. I'd see him before and after games, and I get a lot of grief no matter how I played. He is a true legend of the club. It's only right we have a statue outside to mark his contribution. Overtaking him would be a huge achievement, but I could never compare myself to him. I just tried to be a sponge around him. I've always appreciated whatever words I've had around him, even if it's been grief, and keep learning because he has an abundance of knowledge. On his future at Rangers, Tavernier added, "The hunger to win, that never goes away. Whether it's in training or matches, it's my job as captain to bring standards and drive the team. That's what Rangers is about. The club is built on a rich history of winning trophies. You're confronted with that fact every day in the training ground and in the stadium. Rangers' rich history of winning trophies. My job as captain is to continue that." And that article was written by Aidan Smith and read to you today by me, Ian. From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 15th of January. From the sports section, Josh Doig to Marseille transfer at risk of falling through. Article by Aidan MacDonald. Josh Doig's proposed transfer to Marseille from Hellas Verona could be off after a dispute between the two clubs. This is according to transfer guru Fabrizio Romano, who has claimed that the French side do not intend to wait any longer. It was previously reported by Sky Sports that the Scotland under-21 international had reached an agreement with the League One club. However, that deal appears to have fallen through. Writing on X, Romano said, "Olympique Marseille have still not received the final green light from Hellas Verona for Josh Doig, and they don't intend to wait anymore. OM are closing in on a deal to sign Ulysses Garcia from Young Boys. Doyle joined the Serie A club in the summer of 2022 after a successful spell at Hibernian and has been linked with Rangers during the transfer window. He's recently captained Scotland under-21s and has thrived in Italy, following the route of fellow countrymen Aaron Hickey and Lewis Ferguson. The 22-year-old has made 35 appearances for Hellas Verona, scoring twice and providing 4 assists. He previously spoke about how much he was just enjoying life abroad. It's amazing there. It's a different culture. It's all new. The city, the layout, the people, everything is new, but I'm embracing it as much as I can. The style of football is not massively different. You have a lot more of the ball at your feet and you need to play and be comfortable in the ball. It's good for me, it's maturing me as a player. I'm on the ball a lot more and I've enjoyed it. My girlfriend Molly has moved over. She's actually got into university there, so it's perfect. She's studying fashion at a fashion school. The club set it up for her. She's more clued up than me. She has advanced hires and is properly brainy. My mum and dad are over every month or so and are loving a wee holiday. They love the city as much as I do. We do 2 lessons a week on Zoom with a guy and she's picking it up. We do it together and I'm just sitting back listening to her. And that article was by Aidan MacDonald.
During an increasingly tense
from the Glasgow Times, Monday the 15th of January 2024, from the sports section, Nicholas Cunn undergoing medical in London ahead of Celtic transfer. Article by Aidan MacDonald. Rapid Vienna winger Nicholas Cunn is undergoing a medical in London ahead of his move to Celtic. This is according to Sky Sports, claiming that the 24-year-old is due to fly to Glasgow later this afternoon to finalise the deal. Barring any last-minute hitches, Cunn will become the club's first piece of transfer business this January. It's believed the deal is worth a little under £3 million and it's anticipated that forwards will sign a 4-year contract at Parkhead. The one-time Ajax and Bayern Munich player has 3 goals and 7 assists to his name so far this campaign. Meanwhile, Celtic are set to send youngster Adam Montgomery out on loan for the second time this season. The Daily Record reports that Motherwell is leading the chase to sign the 21-year-old until the end of the season. The Steelmen are looking to fend off interest from other Premiership rivals, as well as English lower league clubs, to land the left-back. The top-flight strugglers are desperate to sign a left-back this month after Brodie Spencer, who spent the first half of the season on loan at Fir Park, was recalled by parent club Huddersfield. Montgomery was last week recalled by Celtic after an unsuccessful stint at Fleetwood Town. The youngster managed his 6 appearances for the League One outfit. He joined under Scott Brown in the summer. However, he was sacked in early September and the club has changed manager twice since. It's said that Brendan Rodgers wants to keep a closer eye on Montgomery, so Motherwell seems to be his likely destination. Montgomery has previous first-team experience in the SPFL at Aberdeen and St Johnstone. His season-long loan at McDiarmid Park last term was certainly regarded as a success, as he helped the Perside stay in the division. And that article was by Aidan MacDonald.
As things got decidedly tight.
From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 15th of January, from the sports section, Philip Clement's Rangers extra powers winter break hope. Article by Ewan Payton. Philip Clement knows he's put his Rangers players through their paces when other teams have been resting during the winter break. But the Belgian is hopeful that the club's winter training camp in Spain will have given his players extra powers in the months ahead. Rangers have been training hard at La Manga over the past few days and even fitted in a closed-door friendly against Hertha Berlin. That game ended in a 1-0 defeat, and it certainly looked like it's sort of showing that it was exactly what you'd expect after a break away from football. The hard work continues this week with another friendly against FC Copenhagen at Ibrox tomorrow night, before the competitive action returns with the 4th round of the Scottish Cup on Saturday evening at Dumbarton. Clement insists the idea of pushing his players at this stage is so they have the endurance to go the distance. With the Cup, Europa League and Premiership still all to play for. We saw good things on a pitch that was not the best, the 49-year-old said. We tried to play with a good tempo on a pitch that also wasn't the biggest, to create space against a team that didn't want the ball,
especially 2 years ago,
waited for transitions.
them wrong.
So, Those are the circumstances that make it more difficult to score the goal. I see the good intentions with a lot of players, and I saw the effort, which is what we need for the moment. We will have the profit of that in the next couple of weeks because the players are going to go really deep this week and in the week to come, but it will give them extra powers for the next couple of months. And that article was by Ewan Payton.
Had given the visitors fresh purpose.
From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 15th of January, from the sports section. Van Hooijdonk opens up on transfer links amid Celtic's striker search. Article by football writer Aidan McDonald. Sidney Van Hooijdonk has addressed reports linking him with a move away from Bologna amid Celtic's hunt for a striker in the January window. The Dutchman has long been linked with following in his father Pierre's footsteps and making the move to Parkhead. Van Hooijdonk has played just 11 times for the Serie A outfit so far this season, scoring once, and he opened up on his future. Speaking to DAZN, he said, "Now I want to score and win. Then we will see how football goes. It's like this. In football, everything can change quickly." Brendan Rodgers has previously made no secret of the fact that the club is in the market for another striker, with Kyogo Furuhashi being the only one currently available for selection. Meanwhile, Gustav Lagerbilke is reportedly no closer to finding a new club and leaving Celtic. This is according to the Daily Record, who claimed that the centre-back appears to be staying put at Parkhead despite recent interest from Serie A. Lagerbilke joins from Elfsborg for £3 million during the summer transfer window, but has struggled to make an impact at Parkhead. The Sweden international has made just 9 appearances for the Scottish champions, with his only goal coming in the 2-1 victory over Feyenoord in the Champions League. Despite injuries earlier in the season to Cameron Carter-Vickers, Mike Navrocki and Stephen Welsh, the 23-year-old struggled for regular minutes and more recently failed to make matchday squads. And that article was by Aidan McDonald.
The United States were not lying down.
That concludes this week's edition of the Glasgow Times Sports Podcast. Please remember to subscribe to our channels at Kieran Review and to tell your friends about our service.
All plundered points.